All right, guys. So with a Chrysler solid state ignition, usually you would have this for your electronics. I'm not using that. I'm using a Street Fire. However, I know a lot of guys are really afraid with electrical. So I'm going to be covering your alternator regulator. This is a new one. They're pretty cheap. You can get them from anywhere from 10 bucks to 50 bucks. All that this does is regulates when the alternator charges your battery and how much voltage. So all that this does is this sends 12 to a field post on your alternator and then has a secondary field post going up to here. And what that does is that connects together, and then this would be your power wire. Mine's all junked out here, but it was just a post on here. It was really bad. This is a factory wire. This looks to be 10 to 12 gauge, and I'm sticking with a stock refurbished alternator, so I won't have any issues. However, if you're going up to a larger alternator, this wire will not power your system. You will burn the car to the ground. So make sure, read up on it, watch a couple extra videos. If you're going with a bigger alternator than stock, we're talking like 120 amps, while this one's only a factory 60. I'm not running AC on the car or anything like this, but it did come from AC from the factory, so it did have a larger alternator from the factory. Now we're going to be doing a splice, because this is the factory alternator wire here. This is the original connector, so as you can tell, it's in really bad condition. I really didn't want to use this as a main source of charging. This is going to heat up. It could possibly melt. Lots of strands are missing. Just not a safe thing. So you have kind of two different options when it comes to this. You have a crimp-on eyelid kind of connector like this. So what this is going to do is it's pretty much going to be the same thing. You're going to take it, slide it right on the wire, crimp it. What I am going to do, because these are more of a firm connector, so you need to use heat shrink over the top of this at the bare minimum. Another kind of connectors out there, these are kind of like an adhesive with heat shrink. So pretty much you crimp on it right here, put the wire, with the wire on it, and then you take a heat gun, and this has adhesive in it, and it'll make a watertight seal right on the connector. I prefer these. Only issue is I couldn't find this style with adhesive and this big of an eyelid, because that is a lot larger, and it needs to be at least that large to mate to the post on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. For the heat shrink, there's a couple of different options out there. You can kind of just go with any type of automotive heat shrink or just normal heat shrink tubing. These kits are kind of nice because on here they tell you what size, so what it starts at, what it goes down to, quantity, and what type of gauge wire you're going to have. The wire is black. I really like to code all my wires to the same color. I don't have any more black in there. So I do have just these extra ones here, nothing too crazy. Heat shrink is fairly simple. So all that you want to do, take a piece. Oh, wow, doesn't fit on there. And then just kind of size up from there. So this looks to be the heat shrink that we are going to want. So based on the wire size, probably only that much. You don't need whole lots for this, so I'm going to do it about there. I don't really like that cut. Not straighter. Okay. So now we can take this wire. It's loose right now, so this makes it a lot easier. Slide that over. And I like to have, you don't want to have that much sliding off of it, but what you do want is you want just a little bit based on that hole size. It's about that much. So we're going to crimp crimp it right there. You can get these crimpers, they're pretty cheap in a kit. And pretty simple, you just want to mark it on the yellow here. Take it, mash it down. And I like to do 2 on there just to really make sure that you got it down. Just want to do a little pull test on it. You don't want a He-Man on it, you know, but you can see all that's crushed down in there really nice, even on that backside. And since this is an adhesive, what you have to do is take that heat shrink, put it right over, just like that. So now, what you can do is you can either take a lighter, which they're alright. I like to use a heat gun. And you can just take a heat gun to it. You can see that heat shrink just closing on it nice and tight. There you go. Alright. So now that can be put on the post. Put on with the nut. That one is done. So now what we want to do is, this is a factory green wire. It is cut multiple times along this run here. So what we are going to do is we're going to cut it right about here. You don't have to be super perfect with it. And this part over here is all destroyed, bent out of whack. So now, this is just another wire you can get at any automotive store. I don't like the end of this, so we're going to cut that. Strip both sides. And strip it at 12. So now we got the copper wire showing. Go to this side. So now we have 2 green wires. Yeah, I'm not really surprised by that one.
Not even open on the weekend. Okay, I guess I'm going past.
Sounds good.
Anything else you can think of we need?
No, I think we're good. So now what we're doing is a 2-to-1 splice. So we crimp that down just a little bit, and then manage all of our wires here, the spark plugs and everything else here. Go to this, plug that bad boy in. So this can sometimes be a little bit difficult, a little tricky. Just take crimpers, make sure that wire is forced in there. Crimp. And what I like to do is do it a couple of times. So, again, you just want to lightly make sure that the wires aren't loose. And they're not. So that's perfect. So now, get the heat going. I like to spread out the wires a little bit. Needs to be a little bit hotter as we go. It shrinks down like that. Now we will just double check. Adhesive went all the way through. There's no gaps. So that means that this is good to go. But what we can do if we want to check our work, continuity test. So you can get these. These are pretty cheap. These are at Walmart for $25 I think they are now. I paid like 20 for mine. But what you can do is, because all the blues within these wires are ignition switch wires. So you can do, put one in blue here, and then you can just check any wire. So, hear that beep? So that means that there is continuity from this all the way down to this blue wire that we spliced in, if you want to double check your work. So, super easy to do. I know a lot of guys are afraid of electrical on these old cars, but if you have a wire diagram, it is not hard at all. Just have to have a little bit of confidence. So now, because both these factory ends were bad anyways, female disconnects. That is what they call for from the factory. And these you can get, I mean, I got these ones at Ace here, but you can get them from anywhere. They're really not bad. These are not going to have any adhesive on the back. Small town, I can't get stuff. It's a lot harder. So, brings me back to heat shrink. And it's always good to have little kits. I got this one, Iola Car Show. You can get it at pretty much any car show pretty reasonably. Amazon, Walmart, wherever you can find it. So usually what you want to do, and there's two different ways of doing this. Actually, there's multiple ways of doing this. Factory option, you can just use tape. Start taping this all around here. And then you can figure out from there where you want your wires to go. So, what I am going to do for right now is just use zip ties. What I'm going to do is, this isn't supposed to be on this side. I know that I'm going to put it probably somewhere around here. I'm kind of hoping anyways, because I have a good mounting point here. So I can get a little tie down and tie it. But all that I want to do right now is I'm just trying to figure out lengths. Now, it's always better to have them longer than shorter. So I'm going to guess about here. Probably tie it right around here-ish. So, black I already measured out. I figured it was going to be about here. So, what I am going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and bolt that down before I lose this nut. And because I have heat shrink on here, I'm not worried about this touching once I get that cinched down here. So blue always goes to the top here. So I don't know, I don't want to cut it too short yet, because you can always backfeed this into your wire harness too. So you just want to get it, you know, close. So let's say about here for blue. So we're gonna cut it. Well, it's not even much, but it does make a difference. And we're gonna take this and strip that wire. You see, none of the gold contacts are missing. That's, oh, sorry, copper. So you gotta make sure that's right. Now, let's find a little bit of blue. Just about that. See it? Yeah, that was really sucky. Oh, they cut it though. So you don't need a whole lot. Slide this on here so you can't lose it. Twist them, kind of makes them stick together a little bit better. And you can kind of look through right there. Not sure if you can see that on camera. It's right about there. So now, color's blue, so blue marker. Make sure it's all the way in there. Crimp. I like to do it twice. I like to make sure that's in there. I can see it all the way at the end. And I might just crimp it one more time closer to the edge. Should be fine. Yeah, no more movement. So now, wherever our heat shrink went disappearing to, take that, slide it over that. Heat shrink, usually you just need that little bit better, but that'll be alright. So now, you can take this, plug it directly into there. And what I'll do is I'll tape this up. I'm going to make these look really nice when I'm done here. Pretty much what I'm doing is just trying to get that a little bit better. So I'll tape this all the way back, or put some sheathing on it too here. This is still really long. So let's go about here, because I really don't want to do this again. Looks good, plenty of meat on that. Again, I like to crimp it twice, one close, one a little bit further away. So it's real nice on there. Take the heat gun. That one sealed pretty nicely on there. I still like to take tape to it. But all in all, that was not that bad at all. So now, those two are on there. These can get taped pretty nicely all across. So, overall, it's going to be a heck of a lot better. So all in all, really easy to do. Only took me a little bit of time. If you don't have the parts, the longest part is running for it. So now I'm just going to pretty much tape this up and she's good to go.